All right, well, thank you for joining us again on our Pampered Chef Party, and this is our second part to our three-part knife skills videos. So this part we're going to go over is the types of knives, the most common types of knives that you're going to find or that you should get to use in your kitchen. So what I have laid out here are the four most common knives that you're going to see, and we're really going to concentrate on three of these. The first one is a Santoku style knife. This one is a chef knife. This is your serrated knife, and this is your paring knife. Now, we're going to concentrate more on the Santoku and the chef knife at the moment. So if you can see the difference between these two, they're almost the same length and blade. You know, there's different sizes. You get a 5-inch, 7-inch, 9-inch, 12-inch. You can even get a 15-inch knife. That all has to do with whatever it is that you're cooking. But for the simplicity in a basic home kitchen, a good 9, even a 12-inch chef knife will do you just fine, or a Santoku knife. The difference between a chef knife and a Santoku knife really is the size of the blade to the point. Whereas you can see the Santoku knife stays wider before it gets to the point. Your chef knife tapers down more quickly to the point. And then on your Santoku knife, there are these little ridges that are stamped inside here. The idea behind that is if you're cutting a really wet, like a tomato or even squash, but it's a wet vegetable or fruit, it will help the slice to slide off better because it won't get stuck to the blade like it will on your chef knife. I have one of these. I don't prefer to use it just because of whenever I went to cooking school, they trained us on a chef knife. So that's the one that I prefer the most. So I'm just going to put this one away. So you've got your chef knife, and you have a serrated knife. The serrated just has to do with the type of edge that it is. It's not a fine edge blade, okay? There's different edges, almost like a saw, and then each one of those are sharpened. And this is really good for real delicate fleshed vegetables like a tomato, or even like breads, things that are that are very delicate to cut, okay? And then you've got your paring knife. Your paring knife can be used for small vegetable chopping. It can be used for garnishes and just delicate work. Like when we did our apple pie video, we cut out the leaves for our vent holes. So your paring knife is used for fine work, rather as your chef knife is your workhorse of the kitchen. So now I'm going to take these two away. And when we talk about the chef knife, okay, in particular, there's some things that you want to take into consideration. The most important thing is weight and balance, okay? You want it to be able to fit in your hand well. You want it to be, your hand to feel good when you're holding the knife. And the way you hold the knife, you take these three fingers, your pinky, your ring, and your middle finger, and those go on the handle. Your index knife gets curled around on the edge, and your thumb holds it to the other side. So whether you're left-handed or right-handed, you're still going to hold the knife the same way. This gives you the most control of your knife. It allows you to know where your knife is at all time. Okay, so it's all about control. It's also whenever you go to chop, it's the best position for you to chop into. For safety, when you put your knife down, you always want your blade to be pointing away from you. Okay, that way if you move your hand up here, you're not going to hit the blade itself. You're just going to hit the back. And if somebody else comes up to your board, then obviously they're going to hit the back as well. If you have it facing towards you, you have the tendency you may be able to run in to push your hand into it, or if you fall, okay, you may pull it closer to you and cut yourself. So you always want to keep the blade away from you. Another important thing about your knife is you want to make sure that the blade goes all the way through the handle. Okay, so this is a really high-end German steel knife, to where the tip of the blade all the way to the back of the handle is punched out of one piece of German steel, and then the handle is attached to it through the rivets. This gives you a good backbone of a knife. Okay, it makes it more weighted, so this has a weight on the end, so that it makes it more balanced in your hand, and then you don't get the fatigue over long periods of times of chopping. The other thing you want to look at is how the knife is put together. So this one, the handle is riveted all the way through the handle, all the way through the blade to the other side, and it has a good seal to it, so that it's all one piece, although it's three separate pieces. So it's put together very well. Now I'm going to show you the difference between this knife and a couple of other ones. So this is your standard high-end German steel home knife. This knife here, this chef knife, is one that I got when I went to cooking school. So you can see there's a difference. It's still a chef knife. The length is the same, but this one has more blade to it from top to bottom than this one does. It has a more ergonomic handle for use, for repetitive use, and it's better weighted for me. Okay, so this is one of the knives that I picked out for me whenever I went to cooking school. I still use it today, even though I have this other knife. It still holds an edge, which has to do with the type of material that it's made out of. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Here's another one. This is one that was purchased at a big box store here in town. All right, so if you compare these two, they almost look very similar. All right, this one is a little bit longer, same color handle. It's still got rivets that go through it. But if you look, the blade does go all the way through, but as compared to this one, the blade stops at the end, okay? And so you have one giant handle and a small blade. It's still put together with rivets, it's put together well, but the biggest difference is the type of material that it's made out of. They're both a forged knife, which means they're high tempered steel, but this type of steel that it's made out of, and then the thickness also plays into a role into holding an edge. A thicker knife is going to be harder to hold an edge to or put an edge on versus a thinner knife. So there's a balance between how thick you want it, how thin you want it, and how much edge you can hold onto it. Now the last one I'm going to show you is one that was purchased at a grocery store. Okay, so this is one of those, oh my God, I can't find my knife, I need to cut something, run to the store and buy something. All right, you might as well just have ran to like a Bed Bath & Beyond or something and bought a new good knife. Because this one, all right, as you can see, it's still the same size, same colors. It's still got the same basic principles of how it's put together. But you can tell the difference in this one is the handle, the rivets are poorly put on versus either one of these two knives. So the handle shakes. It's not flush. So you have part of the blade that's farther down than the handle is. So you could have a potential for food particles to get down in there, or meat, raw chicken, which can then cause illness later on. Your blade doesn't, it goes all the way through, but it actually hangs out the end here. So it's not a really well-made knife. And then the other thing is the taper of the blade. It comes down and then it tapers again, and you'll never get a good enough edge on here to do repetitive cutting. It's almost like a one and done type of knife. But we all have these in our kitchen. I mean, I have one in my kitchen. So the most important things to remember from today's video is invest in a good, high quality, high end knife that's made out of German steel. They have some of the best. They have some of the best steels. The Germans and the Swiss have the best steels when it comes to knives. And they'll last you a lot longer than if you can repetitively buy cheaper knives. So Pampered Chef offers a variety of different sizes and styles of knives. You can buy them individually, you can buy them all in a block. But I encourage you to get at least the three: your chef knife, your paring knife, and your serrated knife for your all-around kitchen uses.